Applications for the special one-off 100,000 yen cash payment in light of the outbreak of the new coronavirus here in Japan have already begun for some people. As you might already know, applications can be done online if you've got a My Number card, or if not, you can do them via the post. If you're a foreigner resident in Japan and eligible for this 100,000 yen payment, you'll be receiving an application form sent from your local municipality in the coming weeks, if you haven't received it already. As we understand things, these application forms are going to be printed in Japanese. So what we want to do in this video is take you through the steps on how to fill out the application form. So let's get into it. So this is a sample of the application form for the special 100,000 yen fixed rate cash payment in light of the outbreak of the new coronavirus. Here it is written on the top, Tokubetsu Teigaku Kyufuku Shinsei Sho. The first thing you're going to want to do then is fill out the date that you're making your application. Now this here is the Japanese style of counting the years, so this says Reiwa. And whenever it is you get round to filling this in, this is definitely going to be a 2 in here. Then you're going to put the month and the day. In this section here, you want to just write in the name of your city. So for example, if you lived in Nakano in Tokyo, you're going to put in here Nakano. According to the instructions issued by the people that are organizing this thing, some of this form is already going to be filled out for you. And in this case, it's going to be your name and your address. So what it's asking you to do here is to check the spelling of your name is correct. So your name should in here be written in katakana. And again, if you've got like a foreign name, it's going to be written in katakana here again. So you're going to want to check that that's been written correctly. Perhaps you can compare it to your bank statements, to your gaijin card, your residence card, that kind of thing. So you're just checking here that your name has been inputted correctly. This here is the bit where you put your stamp. So you're just going to stamp on there. We don't know if you can sign it or not. Here's your address. Check your address that it's been inputted correctly. And then here it's asking for a telephone number, not a landline, but your cell phone number. So put that in here. This section here is for your date of birth. This is the year, this is the month, this is the date. I don't think that this is going to be pre-printed for you, so you're going to need to enter that in by yourself. Then we come down to this section of the form here. Now in here again, according to the instructions issued by the people that are organizing this, this should already be printed for you. This lists the names and the relationships and the date of birth of the people who are eligible in your household to receive the money. Now if you're the head of your household, your name will be here in section number 1. And this part here explains that you're the head of the household, and this will be your date of birth. If you're the head of the household and you've got a spouse, their name will go in section number 2. This here suggests that they're the wife. It might also suggest that they're the husband, and this is their date of birth. If you've got children, their names go in sections 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. They're listed, here's the name. This kanji here represents that they're the child, and this is their date of birth. As we understand it, if you make a mistake in this section, you can draw 2 red lines through the area where you've made your mistake, and then if you've got blank spaces available, re-enter the information in those spaces. Now, each person in the household is going to receive the 100,000 yen, not just the head of the household. According to this example, if there's 3 people in the household, that'll be a total of 300,000 yen, and that will already be inputted into your form. So you're just going to want to double check that. If you're living alone, this here is going to be 100,000 yen. This box here is quite interesting. In this box, we're being asked to check if we in fact don't want to receive the 100,000 yen. So let's just be careful here. If you want to receive your 100,000 yen and you're entitled to it, do not check anything in these boxes. However, if perhaps you're some sort of famous celebrity and you want to show that you don't need the money and let's give it to people who really need it, you might want to check a cross in this box to tell people that you are foregoing your 100,000 yen one-off coronavirus support payment. Now this section of text here is asking us how we want to receive our payment. Now we know already that the authorities, as much as possible, want us to receive our payment via a bank transfer rather than going in person to, say, your local city hall to collect it by hand. Obviously, they want to do this to avoid spreading the new coronavirus any further. So as much as possible, guys, we want to do this via a bank transfer. So in order to do that, you're going to select option A here. If you really cannot do this, you don't have a bank account, for example, then you're going to select option B, and you're going to go and collect it from your, well, possibly City Hall, we don't know this, but you're going to go and collect it in person wherever that may be. Back to the bank account option here. What this section of text is asking us is whether or not the bank account we intend to use is the same account we use to do things like paying for water, paying our residence tax, paying for our childcare allowance. If that's the case, check this here. Check the purpose of the account. For example, here it's asking if you use this account to pay your water bills, check here. If you use this account to pay your city tax, check here. If you use your account to pay your childcare allowance, check this box here. Now, by doing this, it means then that you don't have to provide any sort of proof or copy of the bank account itself. Later on, it's going to ask you to provide a copy of your passbook or your bank card or a screenshot from your online banking. But if you use this account to pay your water bills or your city tax or your childcare allowance, you don't need to provide those copies. Okay, now regardless of whether or not you're checking one of these boxes, you're going to have to fill in your banking details. Now this is either going to be with a regular bank or it's either going to be with the Japan Post Bank. Looking at the banking details here, now this is asking you what kind of banking institution it is. Now the chances are you're just with a regular bank, in which case you circle number 1. Coming over to the right here, this is asking for the branch name. This part here at the bottom is asking for the branch code. Go to your passbook, open up your passbook and enter the code in here. If you're using a business bank account, chances are you're going to circle number 2, which is essentially a current account. If you're just using a personal bank account, it's number 1 here, a regular bank account. And then this is your account number. Now just be careful here, if there are too many spaces provided here, just remember that in Japan, it's the first section that would be left blank. So if your number had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits only, you'd start filling in from here and then finish here. And then here is the account holder's name, katakana at the top, and then chances are it's going to be katakana again in the bottom. If you've got a foreign name like me, my name is written in katakana. So this is katakana here, this is katakana here as well. If by chance your name is written in Romaji or in Roman alphabet, then the top is going to be katakana, the bottom is going to be Roman alphabet as it's detailed in your account. Likewise with the post office account, if you go to your post office banking card, you'll find one long number written on the front, separated by a hyphen. This number goes into this space here, and then your name goes in here. The next section of the form offers you a chance to enter the banking details and the details of somebody who's going to take the payment or collect the payment on your behalf, a third party if you will. We're just going to leave this to one side and we're just going to assume that you're taking collection of the payment yourself. Now we come to these two sections here. This top section is asking for some identification. Now it details here that it could be a copy of your driver's license, a copy of your My Number card, a copy of a health insurance card. It doesn't actually say anything, but we're assuming that a copy of your residence card or gaijin card would also work here, as would be a copy of your passport. Now remember, this is just a copy only, so don't stick the real thing in, just copy it and stick it on here. Going back to the banking account information, we mentioned earlier that if you're using the same bank account that you use to pay city water, city taxes, childcare allowance, you don't actually need to provide any copies here. But I reckon just to be safer than sorry is to provide some copies anyway, just in case you've made a mistake in filling out the form. And it says here you can provide a copy of your bank card, a copy of your passbook or banking book, or you could even take a screenshot. If you're doing online banking, you can take a screenshot of a page which details your account number, your account name, and the banking institution. Then finally, you don't need to worry about this too much. This is just a checklist section, just for you to double check that you've done everything correctly. Here it's asking you to check that you've filled everything in correctly, you've filled in all sections of the form, give that a check. This is asking you to check that you've put the right bank account numbers and the right copies in. Give that a check. And again, this is just to check that that you're providing all the correct documents with your application. Give that a check as well. So now that you've filled all that in, we're assuming that it's going to come with a stamped address envelope. So go ahead, fold up your application form, stick it in that envelope, and when you go down to your local post box, if you find that there's 2 slots in there, chances are it's going to be the smaller slot on the left that you want to put it into. Actually, you can check whether or not the application process has started in your city of residence in Japan, and you can do this online. Japan's Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication has set up a special website in regards to making these applications for the 100,000 yen cash payment, and you can check on there the status of whether or not it has started. Just one final thing to say about this. What you've seen here is by no means an official guide to filling out these application forms, but in our experience, we can't find any official information on how to do this that's in English or any other language other than Japanese. So we've put together this guide for you to help make the process, if not just a little bit smoother for you. If you've already gone through the application process, if you've got any comments you want to share with us, definitely leave them in the comments section below this video, and we'll see you next time.